lesson, we're going to take a look at the beautiful song Pua Tuberose, and one of my favorite slow Hawaiian swing tunes. Hula dancers love this. Kimo Kamana composed this, and it goes way back to the swing era in Hawaii. A lot of songs like this emerged out of the 20s and 30s and 40s. And it has this really nice, relaxed triplet division. And so the best way to start, we're going to play in the key of C. I'm using high G here as well. And the arrangement uses a couple of notes, just mainly the open fourth string. If you play low G, just replace that note whenever you see a zero, basically in the melody on the fourth string. Just play the third fret of the second string, that note G, and you'll be able to play this. It sounds great as well on the low G tuning, with low G tuning. But to start out with, it's good just to get a nice swing strum. And one concept I like to use, you can use your index finger to do down and up. But there's this real smooth sound you can get using your thumb down and index up. Only using the pad of the finger, no fingertips, so you don't get the nail in there, and it gives this real bright, a real warm sound instead of the brightness of the nail. So you can experiment with just doing the strum of D7, G7, C. That's how I set up the song, just simple down and up strums. But the idea is swing is triplet, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Divisions of each beat into 3 parts. You strum on the first and third, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I often count triplet. That's the idea behind swing. It transfers to melodic playing as well. You could practice alternating index and middle to get a nice bouncy swing feel. And you'll notice in this piece, we switch back and forth from that strumming technique with chords, a lot of downbeats with the thumb. You could play those as block chords with your fingers as well. That works great. But for sort of this jazz technique and style, I'm using a lot of thumb. You could play the whole piece with your thumb if you wanted, actually. It's better to get the up strums with the index, but even, I'm just using the back of the thumb. You can get the whole song. And that's an old tradition with ukulele playing. Another is to use your thumb and then index extended to play melodies. We have this, vamp at the end. You can use thumb and index to do that. I like we've learned, to use thumb, index, middle, and ring. Those fingers feel so good playing fingerstyle. You can get so much variety of tone and color with that, and it's great. It doesn't take as much energy. It's more economy of motion. But let's try to use our thumb a little bit more than we have in the past in this. So if we do this intro with thumb and index, I then switch to block chords here. And I'm aiming for the C chord. It's 5, 4, and 3 on the fourth, third, and second strings. And we're going to do what's called side slipping. You take that C chord, you slip down a fret, all the notes. That happens a lot in Hawaiian and jazz music. So we're going to slip into the C chord from a B chord, 1 fret below, 4, 3, 2 to 5, 4, 3. Then it switches back. Now keep in mind the melody is on the second string. You could choose to leave out the fourth string. If you use low G, it won't compete with the melody. But I just try to play it really soft. So you hear that note, but you really put more emphasis in the higher pitch. If you left it out, you can do that as well. So we play this block chord in measure 3, then down, then back up. We play open strings. This would be a chance to use your thumb or thumb, index, middle, ring. Third finger does a pull off, 3 to 0 to the note C. Then here, thumb strum on C7. I switch back to index and middle to play those eighth notes there. Swinging in measure 4, 4, and block chords, F, thumb, index, middle, then strum, change to A chord, then release your second finger. So F is 2, 0, 1, 0. A is easy. You just move your first finger up towards the ceiling to a C sharp, first fret of the third string. Then just A7, we're going to release that second finger, 0, 1, 0. That's measure 5. So we get 1, strum, block chord, then second finger is going to play a D chord, 2, 2, 0, second and third finger, and you arpeggiate. I go thumb, middle, index, thumb, then alternate middle to index into a strum of a D minor chord. Then I use my thumb to play the open fourth string. Here with low G is where you'd play that third fret. You can even with high G, you can still do. Then back to D minor. So we're switching to the open string, and then we're playing part of a G7 chord, just the lowest notes, and then back to the D minor chord, 3 strings, open second string, then a full G7 strum. So you get this. Then back to D minor, measure 9. Here's my favorite part of the song, and the lyrics in the first verse is Po'ina ole, unforgettable. It's this unforgettable lei, the fragrance of the tuberose. It's all metaphor, kauna, we call it in Hawaiian poetry, of love. The lei represents a loved one. Now here it gets a little tricky. We're going to do this G7. We play outside strings, then strum again with your thumb. Here is a technique that's really important to learn, how to bar with another finger other than the index. First finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, pinky on the high string 7th fret. This is a beautiful G9th chord. So we got, it's actually, you can call it a G13th. It's got this with an E on top. Then we're going to go to a bar with F and another tricky bar here. 2, 2, second finger at the 5th fret, then 4 with first finger and third finger plays a high string. Their third finger then becomes a guide finger right down into C. Then we do a down, down, up with index finger before we do the vamp. Now this is a 2-4 bar. Some of the old Hawaiian songs have these. You're cruising along, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3. They happen often in Hawaiian songs. So this is a great example of that. The F, just one strum, and then the F minor 6 is really what it is. You can re-finger that if you don't like doing that bar chord, but I highly recommend learning to do that 2-note bar with the second finger. You angle your finger in a way, kind of angle it back so your first finger can tuck underneath and your third finger on top. It's really close to a G7 chord. You just flatten that second finger. Move that up to the 4th fret, and you're ready to go. Then there's this walk down, 3 and 4 and. Third finger, second, first. A, then a G sharp and a G. And it's just the 5th fret, 4th and 3rd in the second string. Then we do this really cool, this is a D9 shape. It goes 5, 6, then 5, 7. First finger, 3rd, second, then pinky. We played this vamp, thumb, index, thumb, middle. 3rd string, 2nd, 4th, high. Then we do a G7 chord, 5, 3, 4, 5. From low to high, it's 4, 5, 3, 5. This shape. And then pinky moves down to C. And I do a pull-off with the 3rd finger right underneath it on the note G. To an E. Then you do a strum of a G7. Then we repeat. There's a lot of technique here, right? But it's nice and slow, so you have really a lot of time to think about all these things as they go by. Here I start strumming with my thumb. Sneaking in some melody there. D minor, outside strings. Here's that interesting bar to the 2-4 bar, 1, 2, then C. Walk down, vamp. Ending, we play the open 3rd string, then do the top 3 strings, B flat, 2, 1, 1, up a fret, up a fret. Then we go to just a basic C to end. Now you can watch the performance video of this. You'll also see I did a video where I improvise. And that is something that's really important with getting to know some of the Hawaiian songs, is starting to navigate through and be able to play variations. The first thing you want to learn is just the chord progression of the song. So let's just try to strum reading those rhythms up above. And I'm just going to use that thumb index technique all the way through. So the right hand, you got that. We're just going to look at the left hand for the chords. So see if you can strum along with this. Ready, play. D7, G7, C, 2, 3, B, up to C, down a fret, back up. That bar chord of C, right, based on the B flat shape. F to A7, D7. I'll use my second and third finger here. Any versions of the chords you like would work. D minor to G7 twice. Measure 8. Measure 9. Here's that F, the F minor to C. Vamp D7. I'm not playing the actual notes in it, but I'm just playing accompaniment. I'll repeat that. C back to measure 3. C7, F, A7. I'll play a different version of A7 or a different version of D7. That's where you start to switch things up. G7. D minor to G7, measure 9. Real heavy on the swing feel, and then I'll just do a low position F, F minor to C. D7, now I'll kind of mirror the chords that we're using, break. So if I improvise in my mind, I'm thinking C, B, C, C7, F, A7. I know where the chord shapes are in different positions. Study the cage system that we've looked at. D minor, G7, F, F minor to C, D7. See, I made variations, but I felt comfortable doing it because I'm familiar with the progression. And wherever my fingers land, I can find an A7 chord or a D minor, whatever might be coming next in the song. And it takes a bit of research to do this, but you can start having fun with experimenting with this. Try just first to play in first position. The B chord makes things a little tricky in this piece, but just remember you're just moving down. If you can just memorize that, and maybe do that every time you have to do that little B chord in the song. It's just this little shape of 3, 2, 2. If I just arpeggiate in first position, measure 3. I'm just going to play typical chords. This is a way to start doing variations. Maybe I'll go 4, 3, 2, 1, and just with my thumb. Now D minor, strum, then arpeggiate. Maybe play a C scale. F minor here. D7, G, or G7 to C. So experiment, have a little bit of fun with that. You can watch my performance video and see some of the variations I did and for that. So I hope you enjoy Pua Tuberose, and I'll see you again soon. Ahui ho!